So, Android Police posted this article by, and I'm gonna completely butcher the name, so Sanuju Bhatia. It's right there on the screen. Shout out to both the artist and obviously Android Police for posting this. But it's 7 things I want to see Samsung bring to the Z Flip 6. Now, I haven't seen this article yet, and what I like to do when I look at articles is I like to get my 7 things, talk about those things, and then we'll see what the article artist says. Because I don't want to just read the article and just copy and paste what they're saying. I want to give my thoughts and opinions and kind of rebuttal off their thoughts and opinions. So, my first thing I would say, and honestly, the Z Flip 6, I don't think there's 7 things that need to be upgraded or changed. Because it's, again, you're kind of at a point now with the Flip series where it's almost perfect. Like the Z Fold series, you can add a bigger outside display, a bigger battery, a bigger this, a bigger that. With the Flip series, you're kind of at a point where you're not really doing much more because you can't really upgrade it that much more. But if I had to break this down, number 1 would be, again, add the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 processor, which, you know, we already know we're getting with this one. So that's not really that big of a deal. Number 2, I don't think you need to add more gigabytes of RAM. And again, it's one of those situations where if you do and you add more power, how is the heat going to work with this cell phone, right? That's something that's a really big problem with the Pixel Fold, is that the heat of the cell phone is actually overheats and it ends up crashing the cell phone. So I don't know if I would even say to add more RAM. Number 2, if I'm not saying that, I would say a bigger battery, but at the same time, the real big catch here of the Z Flip series is the thinness and the minimalistic of it. So if you add a bigger battery, you're going to have to make it a little bit thicker. So I would say a bigger battery, but to a point that it doesn't destroy the aspect of the phone. Number 3, I would say better cameras, but I mean, if we're thinking logically here, you're not going to be able to put that big of a sensor in this type of cell phone. You also, the lenses, unless you want them to protrude like crazy amounts, probably not upgrading that as much, but maybe a tad bit better camera sensor. Number 4, yeah, see, I can't even think of number 4. I would say no more crease, but that's not even realistic. Like, there's no way we're ever going to get to a point where we have no more crease on these cell phones. You're talking about a plastic, very thin layer glass display. You're not going to avoid the crease in any capacity ever, no matter how hard you try. No, Oppo did it, but no company has been able to master what Oppo has done. So I don't think you're going to get that. And then maybe a more intrigued AI system that works well and more apps that are designed with the Z Flip in mind. But again, I will say Samsung has done a really good job, a little bit better of a job with the Flip than the Fold. I guess it's a little bit easier as well to really optimize applications for this flippable cell phones, because we have obviously Motorola who's came out with those, and we also came out with, you know, the Z Flip series. So there's a lot of different iterations, and you got Oppo as well, and go on and on. So software for the most part I will say is good, but again, I can't even think of the last 2 options that I would say needs to be upgraded. Because, again, I hate to say this, but I'm at a point now when it comes to these flippable phones, especially with the Z Flip series, Motorola series as well. I mean, I guess you could even add the Motorola series, how the Plus series has, what does it have, 144 hertz inside displays? Because right now, both these phones, the Z Flip series and Motorola series has 120 hertz outside displays. So I guess you could say in the theory of, well, what if the outside, what if the inside display had 144 hertz? Does that really matter? Not really. I mean, gaming, yes, it could matter for some games, but most games on the Play Store are optimized for a more or less 60 hertz display. Because it's not as, I mean, it's getting a lot more prevalent nowadays for 120 hertz, which again is what the inside display already is. But when it comes above that, there's not many phones on the market right now with above 120 hertz inside display. There is just not. And then media, YouTube, and all movies, they all come out in 60 hertz. So even if you come out with a phone with a 500 refresh rate phone, crazy or hertz refresh rate, it doesn't matter at the end of the day because media is not at that point. And I don't think media will ever be at that point. The only time you want above 120, above 60 FPS pretty much, or 60 hertz would be if you're gaming. And that would be a whole entire different angle. And that's more PC gaming because mobile gaming isn't at that point yet. But let's just see what they say. Battery life. We need a battery that lasts all day. And again, see, this is a dual-edged sword here. This is a thing where it's like, okay, I want a bigger battery. Okay, but you don't want a thicker phone. And unless they come out with this magic formula, and Samsung is the first company to ever invent a battery that is smaller but bigger capacity, it doesn't work that way. And there's only so much space you have in these small devices. The bigger battery you put in, the more you take out. So what are you willing to sacrifice to get that, right? So that is something that, again, it's a want, but it doesn't make logical sense. Wireless charging. Okay, so it does have wireless charging, but they want QI2 wireless charging. Okay. Upgraded wireless charging. I can agree with that. I can get behind that. More use for cover screen features. Okay, so kind of what I said about more AI actually being optimized for it. Interesting. Lesser noticeable foldable screen increase. And again, you're not going to get that. That's never going to happen. I hate to tell you this, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if they could fix it and they could get rid of it, I promise you they would. Motorola or Samsung doesn't sit there and say, wow, we need to make sure we keep the crease that everyone and their mother has complained about since day one of these phones iterations. Like, no, they don't want that. They trust me. They could get rid of it. They would have it. They would get rid of it, and they would post it with their brand new device, and that would be the major upgrade of their brand new device, and they would go crazy about it. They don't want it to have a crease. It's just how it works. Upgraded camera system. Again, sensors can be upgraded. It is a very small area, so you're not going to put that big of a sensor in here. Lenses as well. You don't want it to protrude too much. Dust resistance. That is a good one. That is a very good one. That is going to be interesting to see if they can get that done. Because it's really hard to do that for flippable, foldable phones. But right now I believe it was the IPX8. The X meaning dust resistant, X meaning nullified. There's no dust resistant. The 8 meaning water resistant. The first number in X8. So for example, if it was 5.8, 5.8 would mean 5 would be the dust resistance and 8 being, the waterproofness. So I believe, if I am correct, the lower the number, the better. No. The higher the number, the better. So 9 is, so the higher the number, the better. 8 is pretty much right below 9. Now, 9 is waterproofness. 9 is complete other waterproofness. You can put it on the water forever, pretty much, and it won't break, right? 9 is where you talking about like submarine type of technology, right? Number 8 is a very loose term. You see IPX8 and you're like, oh, it's water resistant, it's waterproof. No, it's water resistant, but it's not waterproof. 8 is pretty much if you read the whole breakdown of IPX8, 8 is just means that it is, I believe it's up to 5 meters for 30 minutes, or whatever the manufacturer will tell you about the product. So it could be IPX8 for some products could be like 2 hours at 50 meters or something like that. But in then other products, it could be 5 meters for 30 minutes. It's a very loose branding of it. It's right below 9, and it won't be a 9, but it's like, hey, listen, this could be really waterproof or just a little bit waterproof. A more affordable price tag. That's not going to happen. I'm going to tell you that right now. You're not going to see a flippable phone come out by Samsung less than $1,000. They've already been very vocal. They're not going to make a budget version of their foldable phones. It's not going to happen. So that's pretty much that. Tell me down below your thoughts, opinions. I'll see you guys next one. Peace.